Yes. Oh, yes, Jen Johnson in the house. This is for you. Backup singers, you're not backup, you're like surround sound. Artists, musicians, you're in touch with the music of the spheres, bringing that which is inaudible into audible expression so that the sensorium will be full to overflowing with that which is beyond our sensual realm. It is the presence of God made manifest through song, through music, and through each and every one of us. I welcome all of you to Agape once again, and I want you to begin to feel your significance in the realm of existence. I want you to begin to feel that the Spirit of the living God never makes a mistake, for God is intelligence itself, divine order, bliss, ecstasy, beauty, and a joy. So each and every one of us are a reflection and an emanation of the presence of God, totally and completely. So though your surface mind may have been curated into a thought of unworthiness or insignificance or something along that line, that is not a truth. That is a lie and becomes the father of lies that create tributaries of separation for your human experience. You have entered into the realm of the Agape International Spiritual Center to wake up to your destiny, to wake up to who and what you really are, and to feel into the awareness of your oneness and coherence with the eternal. Our theme of the month is the art of letting go, and we have to begin at the beginning with an awareness that one, you have emerged from the eternal. You have emerged from the eternal. You are a forever being. There was never a moment in which you were not alive, not in existence, for the eternal had no beginning and has no end. When we read scripturally, in the beginning God, it was not talking about a beginning of God, because God is God always. It was talking about a moment of manifestation of the cosmos, the multidimensional universes, galaxies, quarks, planets, nature, living biology, all of that. But the eternal is exactly that, eternal. One, you've emerged from the eternal. Two, you were created in the image and likeness of God. That is different from emergence. Created in the image and likeness of God means you share a faculty with the infinite, which you have the capacity to think independent of experience. You may be growing through something right now, emotionally, mentally, physically, but you can hear the vibration of that which is backing the words here, and you can begin in this moment to think independent of what you're growing through. You begin to set something new in motion right this moment. That is the image and likeness of God. You can think independent of circumstances. And we begin to be aware that three, we live in a field of infinite possibilities. What does that mean? With this creative urgency that we have to think independent of experiences, we can choose a possibility that is life-giving, that is beautifying, that is harmonizing, prosperous. We can begin in this field of infinite potentiality to choose a possibility that is more akin to our eternal nature. There's no cause and effect in reality. There is only a field of infinite potentiality and the conditions that will allow a potential to burst into manifestation. In other words, right here, right now, you can become the living condition for health. The living condition for joy, peace, and harmony. You don't have to wait for a cause or an effect to happen. You, through prayer, you, through meditation, you, through high choice, high conversation, you right now can become a living vibrational condition for an emergence of more good than you could possibly imagine. So we are here to learn the art of letting go. We want to let go of worry. We want to let go of doubt. We want to let go of fear. As I was saying in the earlier meditation service, that humanity suffers from the inability to see reality. It is a spiritual astigmatism. Human beings can't see that which is real. They see through a glass darkly. They see through a filter, a haze that has been curated by individuals believing in separation or domination, manipulation, and control. And in order for you to be controlled, you have to be in fear so that you lose your creative prowess in the world. We have the inability to see that which is real. That's why you pray. That's why you meditate. That's why you socialize with high-minded, open-hearted individuals so that right seeing begins to take place. So we are here to let go of the worry, the doubt, the fear. We're here to let go of the false identification with things that have happened to us, because through the art and science of letting go, through prayer and meditation, you may not be able to control what has happened to you, but you can control what's happening in you. You can control the chemicals being produced right now. You can control the proteins being developed by your thought. You can control all that which is happening within you. You are not a wimpy, oversensitive individual that is complaining about your circumstance. You're rising up as an eternal presence and power of God. And even though you might be sad, even though you might be moving through something, there is a backdrop of the eternal waiting like jump rope to jump into and be the expression of your very life. We want to let go. An individual went to a doctor, had some issues, and the doctor said to him, listen, you're going to have to give up drinking. He said, doctor, I don't drink. He said, you're going to have to give up smoking. He said, I don't smoke. You're going to have to give up carousing and running around staying up all night. He says, I don't do any of that. He says, well, you're going to have to give up something or I can't help you. The art of letting go. All spiritual growth development is about letting go of something. Why? Because we're spiritually made in the image and likeness of God. Why? Because everything has already been given us. And as Jesus the Christ, Yeshua ben Joseph, said in substance, that we have everything already. Who by taking thought could add 1 cubit to 1 stature? You can't add anything to yourself. So you are eliminating that which is not you. The false identifications, the worry and the fear, you're letting it all go. And then what are you doing? You're letting go to a higher frequency. You're letting go to love and peace and harmony right now. Now the mind is saying, whoa, wait a minute. I got some issues over here. I ain't got no money in the bank. They're gossiping about me. I got some stuff. I can't let go. I gotta control my reality. I gotta have my defense mechanisms going on. I gotta have my coping mechanisms happening. And all those defense mechanisms, coping mechanisms are a part of the personality construct, which has arisen from time. They're not really you. They're just what you've put on. Persona means mask. The mask that you're wearing to protect yourself from the experiences of life. As Ernest Holmes once mentioned, this teaching is not about withstanding the blows of life. This teaching is about you rising up and resurrecting and shining and glowing for God. Now, he didn't say all that. That's part of Beckwith. You know, anyway. So we're letting go. We're learning to let go. Oh, here's something. This is a glass of water. Just coming into my awareness. Now, you would say that 6 ounces maybe. It's kind of light. But if I hold this for a long period of time, my hand's going to get a cramp in it. If I hold it for hours, it's going to appear to be heavier than it is. And eventually, it's going to be very, very heavy. Now, in terms of letting go, if you think about your problems for a few moments, it's all right. But if you keep thinking about them, it's going to get heavy. You keep thinking about your problems, it's going to get heavier. You keep thinking about your problems, what you think about, you bring about. You keep thinking about your problems, you make more of what you're thinking about. So what you want to do is you want to remember that Stevie Wonder song, have a talk with God. You want to begin to have an inner dialogue with the presence on a regular basis. As it states scripturally, Joanne, you want to bring all thoughts into captivity for the Christ consciousness. All thoughts. In other words, if you're constantly thinking about your issues, all you're doing is magnifying them. You're bringing about what you do not want. Now, we're not saying you don't do anything about it. However, if you have a perpetual inner dialogue with the presence of God, whether that's a prayerful dialogue, whether that's a surrender dialogue, that's an opening, that's a willingness to surrender, a willingness to let go, a willingness to let go and curate within your mind a feeling tone of peace and of love and of harmony, even if you don't have any physical evidence to it. This is what happens. What happens is now you're no longer blocking the bliss. You're no longer blocking the presence of God from coming into your life, and it shows up as wisdom. It shows up as guidance. It shows up as a direction that comes in a language and in a way that you can understand. Individuals are using their personality constructs and the defense mechanisms to stop God from coming in. God is everywhere, being itself totally and completely, but you have to give permission for the presence of God to come through you. Let go and let God. So instead of holding on to that problem until it becomes more and more magnified, and you want to talk about it every day, you want to identify yourself with them every day, you want to tell everybody about it every day, and it gets getting thicker. That's metaphysics, baby. What you think about, you bring about. Why don't you bring about love in your heart about the presence of God, you see? And now keep in mind, if you're new to Agape, we don't believe in a Superman God. It's not a man in the sky that's, separate from its creation. Sometimes when people think about God and they go through the creation story, they have God in the beginning creating everything, then disappearing. And then at the end, God shows up and judges you. You've lived an interesting life. You're going to hell. And so God's there at the beginning, does a disappearing act. You got to struggle through life by yourself. Then at the end, if you crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, you go to heaven. Not, you might go to hell or somewhere in between. The presence of God is that, a presence that's never an absence. Love, beauty, intelligence, life itself. God never goes anywhere because God is everywhere in God's fullness, you see? And so, as we're having our inner dialogue with the presence of God, we ultimately become aware, as the topic would indicate, that we are built, we are wired for love and for joy and for bliss, and we don't want to get it twisted. Do you realize there's a part of your brain called the corpus stratum? Corpus stratum responds to love and peace. That whenever you're in a feeling of love, a feeling of peace, feeling of kindness, compassion, generosity, it becomes activated. And it begins like a divine echo chamber, magnifying the feeling of peace and of love and of kindness within your being. There's no correspondent aspect to your brain that vibrates to hate or separation. In other words, you are wired for love. You are wired for peace. Now, there are false ways to activate the corpus stratum. Someone takes cocaine. Someone is constantly eating the American diet, which is not that good for you. Someone is, drugs, whatever the case may be. It will temporarily activate that, and it'll be a false joy that leads to what? Leads to addiction. Whether you begin to look for something outside of yourself to bring about the joy and the peace and the harmony that's intrinsic to your nature. As I said before, you're the image and likeness of God, which means right now you might be growing through something, but you can begin to just feel into a moment in which you felt love or enthusiasm. You can begin to feel into a moment in which you felt a sense of security, a sense of safety, even though in your physical expression right now there might be some issues going on. You have the authority within yourself to feel into it anyway. That's letting go to the expanded realm of ever-expanding good, you see. You're letting go to it. And this is what you begin to discover. And this is what epigenetics is now teaching us too, that through your ancestral line, you may have a predisposition to something. You may have a predisposition to diabetes or whatever the case may be, but your predisposition is not your destiny. The predisposition is something that's asleep within your genes. But you wake it up through your choices, your thoughts, and your emotions. So if you have a predisposition to a disease, it doesn't have to wake up unless you wake it up by fear, doubt, worry, complaining, blaming, gossiping. All of that stuff will wake up a predisposition or you can change it totally. You can so rise in gratitude and thanksgiving and dynamic appreciation that predisposition dissolves. It's dropping the issue, dropping the problem. What is a problem? A problem comes from the word emblem. It means that your issues are emblematic of the content flowing through your awareness that you have accepted as your identity. It's a misidentification. You've emerged from the eternal, you're the image and likeness of God, surrounded by a field of infinite potential and infinite possibilities. Why don't you choose a possibility that you like? Why don't you do that? When you go to sleep at night, don't ruminate over your issues. Choose a possibility. When you wake up in the morning, don't ruminate over the issues that you're going to have to go through today. Choose a possibility. And then feel the possibility. Feel as if it's already happening. Feel that success is already here. Feel that you're supported. Feel that you're loved. Feel that you're taken care of. Feel that the source of all creation is sourcing you, not just the special people that you've labeled special. That source of all creation is sourcing you right now, but will you receive it? In other words, we're not falling prey to the Richard Dawkins of the world that says you're here to just dance with your DNA. No, you get to change your DNA. You get to dance to the eternal. You get to dance to God. You get to dance to the love that's everywhere in its fullness. And then you become aware, as I was saying just a little bit at the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington, that hate is learned. Corpus stratum lets us know that love is what we're wired for. A baby is not born being homophobic or racist or hating poor people. That stuff is taught and is learned by people. People learn to hate, learn prejudice, learn bigotry, learn selfishness, learn egomaniacal ways of being in the world. It's learned, which is why I said that there in D.C. that haters are unaware that they're being controlled as well. Because if they're hating and trying to eliminate justice, if they're hating and trying to eliminate the democratic way, real democracy, not that we have one necessarily. I mean, we're close, but no cigar on the democracy aspect of life where we're a corpusocracy, and those who have the most money get to determine how many commercials are coming. Anyway, I don't need to go down that particular thing. And it's a winner-take-all thing. We don't even get percentages. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. And you got electoral college. That's really messed. Okay, I'm going to stop. Now, so the haters are unaware that if they hate and they're trying to suppress other people, that is not a legitimate thought. That's an illegitimate thought that someone has taught them to hate. Their mind has been hijacked. Just as individuals' minds are hijacked by fear and doubt and worry, lack and limitation. We are wired for love and bliss and ecstasy. We are here created in the image and likeness of God, but we're also here to glorify God, which means to be consumed by the presence of God. Oh, God, yes. You can be addicted to the presence of God. That means a constant, eternal dialogue with the eternal. An internal dialogue with the eternal. So where you're constantly thinking about your problem, you now switch out and you start to constantly have a dialogue with the presence. Where does that lead to? Insight, wisdom, and guidance. So you're not forgetting the issue, but you're not going to solve it, as we all know by now, at the level of the problem. I'm just going to worry myself into an answer. Ooh, if I worry long enough, an answer's going to come. No, the answer's at a different vibration. There's no problem in the mind of God. There are only spiritual ideas in the idea sphere. You have to vibrate at that level. So you have to have a constant, internal dialogue with the eternal. And then answers dawn on you. It seems like they come out of nowhere. I was thinking about something the other day I was dealing with, and I just had to let it go. Then a couple of days ago, the answer just popped into my awareness. Oh, you could do this, and you can. It was so simple, but I hadn't seen it until it revealed itself. Because I stopped thinking about the issue, and I just started concerning myself with my conscious oneness with the presence. You see, that's the work. Now remember, the difficulty is the personality wants to control everything. The personality wants to control who the blessing comes from. The personality in relationships wants to manipulate each other, to give each other what you want. The personality wants to manipulate the world. But Jesus said this, into thine hands I commit my spirit. I ain't trying to control nothing. God is God. Into thine hands I commit my spirit, knowing that the source of all creation is acting, singing, dancing, talking, living, giving, sharing, shining, radiating, and as I used to say years ago, motating through me. Motivationally operating through the Spirit of the living God. Motation, baby. Yes, sir. This is where we are to live. So remember this. You are biologically, spiritually, wired for joy, wired for ecstasy, wired for bliss, to be totally consumed, that your life glorifies the presence. Now when you wake up and you say, let me glorify the presence today. Let me glorify what love looks like to the best of my ability. Let me glorify what joy looks like. Let me glorify what compassion looks like. Let me glorify what kindness, patience, generosity create. Let me glorify what... You can just ask that as a question. Presence of God closer than my breathing, nearer than my hands and feet, as the Quran would indicate, closer than my neck vein. How can I glorify love today? How can I glorify abundance today? How can I glorify beauty today? And I'm telling you, an answer will come in a language and in a way that you can understand. But you're going to have to substitute thinking about your problems all day long and start thinking about God all day long. The presence. And when I say thinking, I'm not talking about mentation. I'm talking about putting yourself in a position where inspiration begins to take over. You're here today. If anything has inspired you, capture that feeling of inspiration. You don't have to know what you're going to do with it yet. Just that feeling of inspiration is opening you up for wisdom and guidance to come in a language and in a way that you can understand. So what I want you to do during this month, in terms of the art of letting go, in terms of being wired for joy, when you go to bed at night, do your forgiveness work about all the stuff that's happened in the day that you didn't like, that mistakes you may have made, mistakes you think others have made. Do that. And then don't think about your issue. Give the issue to the presence. Give the issue to the presence of God. Give the issue over. Let it go to the presence. And begin to consider a feeling tone of your oneness with the presence. When you wake up, don't rush quickly to your devices. Don't rush quickly to your to-do list. Give it all to the presence. And then be with the presence as the source of everything you need during the day. And little by little, the percentage of you thinking about problems will go down. And the percentage of you communing in your internality with eternality will increase until you will walk as a beam of light. You will walk as a radiant expression of the infinite, not necessarily knowing how things are going to work out, but you're carrying the feeling tone that it's already worked out. You got to catch that. It's already worked out in the mind of the infinite because it's only spiritual ideas. In spiritual idealism, there's only spiritual ideas. You're carrying the frequency and hearing, hold on until I come. Hold on to that vibration and frequency until it shows up and then compels you into right thought, right speech, right action. This is your life. If you are smiling, this is your life on God. This is your brain on God. Remember those commercials? This is your brain on crack or something. Listen, this is your brain on God. Remember, mind comes before brain. Who you are is way before brain. You know, back in the ages of scientific materialism, scientists would be like, well, there's the brain, and you can touch this part of the brain. This creates this. It's all about the brain. You know, now that ignorance has been put aside. And we know now that in the beginning, the presence. We are an emanation of the presence. We developed a brain which is better than any AI, any technology that will ever be created. Your brain can reflect and is in tune with the entire cosmos. And if you will just be still on a regular basis, you will know exactly what you need to know without a process of reasoning, but through insight and connection to the divine. You don't know how great you are, how fashioned by the presence you are. While you were in your mother's womb, the presence of God knew you. But do you know you? You've got to know you. So you pray not to get something from God. You're praying to wake up to what has been given so that you can live it full out. Shoo, shoo, shoo. I was at dinner with some friends last night and having a conversation, and what came out of my mouth in this conversation was justice without love is simply revenge. And you cannot build a kind and just global society on revenge. Our prison system is basically a revenge system. No love. People are trying to get justice without love. You can't build the world we want to live in that way. Love, we're built for love. We're built for joy. We're built for bliss. That has to be integrated into everything that we do and build. Without it, look at the news. You'll see that world. Love. That's why we named our community Agape, the unconditional love. The love of God operating in the human heart, to quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Not a wimpy, syrupy, but a power, the presence that can literally turn the old upside down world right side up. We are a part of the tipping point of the end of an old paradigm and the birth of a new one. Obviously, it's not being reported on the news because they are reporters of the carcass of an old paradigm. You are the reporters of the invisible unseen that is seeking to emerge right now. Every time you love, every time you forgive, every time you act in concert with the divine, you are building a new world. So don't think your little act is insignificant. There are no little acts in God. They're only vibrational frequencies. Oh, Beckwith, it's time to be quiet. I think I'm making up because I only had 3 minutes in D.C. So listen, but it was a beautiful experience, by the way. Take a breath with me right here. Release. Another breath. Release. And definitely, if you're growing through something emotionally, definitely breathe. Here you go. Take a deep breath. Sustain it at the apex. Take a little bit more air in. Feel any moment in your life where you felt all of your needs are met or you felt total love. Doesn't matter when it was or whether it's gone. Just it's that feeling. Release. This is how we begin our prayer. We turn within in this moment and we feel that sense of love, which leads us into a feeling tone of pure gratitude. Pure gratitude, pure gratitude. Oh, thanksgiving. The surface mind sometimes says, I don't know what to be grateful for. I got so much I have to deal with. We're going beyond the surface now. We're going within to our inner permission, our inner authority. We have inner authority to be grateful. We don't have to wait for something outside of ourselves to make us happy. We curate the happiness that's within us through gratitude, and then something happens outside of us. Then things change. Then conditions begin to speed up and become highways and byways for good. Where they were valleys, we fly to the mountaintop. Woo-wee. So in gratitude and thanksgiving and dynamic appreciation, we recognize the presence that is everywhere. That word is recognition. We are re-knowing what a personality has forgotten. Ever connected, never dejected, neglected, always connected to the presence. Our life, like a wave in the ocean. We get everything we need from the ocean of devotion called the presence that's never in absence. We're connected. We're connected. And from this consciousness of connection, oh, hear this. This just came in. Every moment is a Genesis moment. Every single moment of your life is Genesis. Every single moment of your life is in the beginning. This is an in beginning. This is a new beginning right now. Oh, I know you want to hold on to your past, but this is a new beginning. In the beginning, God. In the beginning, love. In the beginning, peace. In the beginning, abundance. In the beginning, intelligence. In the beginning, beauty and order and harmony. This is a in the beginning moment. This is a Genesis moment. This is a Genesis moment. And the word is spoken. Let there be light and love and beauty and harmony and wholeness flowing through each and every one of us like never before. Let the inhibitions to greatness and success and well-being and joy and harmony, let the inhibitions dissolve now. Woo! We are the answer. 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 We are the vibrational answer. Have a talk with the presence. Pray with somebody. Pray until the joy shows up in the morning of your own soul. Trust God. Woo! Huh. Huh. Let God. Go ahead, Jen. Woo!
We may be bruised, but we are not broken.
Bruised, but not broken.
We may be wounded, but we are not weak.
Wounded, but not weak.
No. The cut is deep. The heart, it's wide open.
Our heart is big enough to embrace the entire world.
And struck a nerve that's centuries deep, and I can hear them.
Listen.
I hear
Listen.
them.
Listen.
Listening. Yes. I can feel them. Lord, I feel them with me.
The angels are singing. The ancestors are singing. God wants to sing through us, live through us, love through us, give through us, shine through us, create through us, harmonize through us. God is our life.
Oh, okay.
Woo! It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
oh, yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Woo.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I got a prayer list here of some people
It's okay.
that have asked us to pray with and for them.